Hi, welcome to my channel, Second PUC Accountancy. Learn, understand, and excel. So, in the previous class, we had seen how to prepare the partner's capital account when the balance sheet is not given. So, today we are going to see how to prepare the partner's capital account, that is, the deceased partner's capital account, when the balance sheet is given to us. So, now let us see this question. Veena, Vani, and Rani were partners in a firm sharing profits and losses in the ratio of 5 is to 3 is to 2. On 31st March 2024, their balance sheet stood as under. The balance sheet as at 31st March 2024. Now here we have the balance sheet. On the liabilities side, we have creditors 14,000, reserve fund 6,000, the capitals of all the partners, Veena 30,000, Vani 25,000, Rani 15,000. And on the asset side, we have cash 8,000, debtors 11,000, patents 11,000, stock 10,000, machinery 50,000. So the total of the balance sheet will be 90,000. The adjustments are as follows. Veena died on 30th September 2024. It was agreed between her executors and the surviving partners that first adjustment, goodwill to be valued at 2 years' purchase of the average profits of the previous 4 years, which were 2020-21 is rupees 12,000, 2021-22 is rupees 20,000, 2022-23 is rupees 13,000, and 2023-24 is rupees 15,000, and this goodwill should be treated as per AS 26. The second adjustment is that the share in the profit from the date of last balance sheet till the date of death to be calculated on the basis of last year's profit. Then the third adjustment, interest on capital to be allowed at 12% per annum. And the fourth adjustment is that share in the revaluation account balance and Veena's share is rupees 5,000, which is given in the bracket credit. So with these adjustments, we need to prepare Veena's capital account. Now, before we could prepare Veena's capital account, let us see what are the information given to us. So here, Veena, Vani, and Rani are three partners. Their old profit sharing ratios 5 is to 3 is to 2, and Veena is the deceased partner, and her share will be 5 by 10. And Veena died on 30th September 2024. So it becomes necessary for us to calculate the intervening period, that is based on the last year's balance sheet till the date of death. It will be 6 months. Now, as per the adjustments, first let's see the calculation of each and every adjustment. The first adjustment is the goodwill. Now, as per the adjustments given here, they have asked us to calculate the goodwill for 2 years' purchase of the average profits, and the 4 years' profits are given to us. So here we have to calculate the goodwill based on the average profit method, which we had already seen in one of the videos, how to calculate the goodwill based on average profit method. So the goodwill of the firm should be calculated as 2 years' purchase into the average profit of the previous 4 years. So first we have to find out what is the average profit based on the last 4 years' profits. That will be rupees 12,000 plus 20,000 plus 13,000 plus 15,000 divided by 4 years. So here it will be rupees 60,000, the total of the profit, divided by the 4 years will be rupees 15,000, that is the average profits. So therefore, we are going to substitute this in the formula to find the total goodwill. So the total goodwill will be 2 years purchase into the average profit, that is rupees 15,000, which we had calculated, which is equal to rupees 30,000. Now, since we are going to only prepare the deceased partner's capital account, the deceased partner's share of goodwill should be calculated. So, Veena's share of goodwill will be rupees 30,000 into her share, that is 5 by 10, which will be rupees 15,000. So this deceased partner, that is Veena's share of goodwill, should be borne by Barney and Rani, the continuing partners, in their gaining ratio, which is same as the old profit sharing ratio between them, which is 3 is to 2, that is 3 by 5 and 2 by 5. So therefore, the goodwill which is borne by Barney will be rupees 15,000, that is Veena's share of goodwill, into the gaining ratio of Barney, that is 3 by 5, which will be 9,000, which will be borne by Barney. And for Rani, it will be 15,000 rupees into 2 by 5, that will be rupees 6,000, which will be borne by Rani. So this will be written on the credit side of the deceased partner's capital account. The next adjustment is about the profit. So it says that the share of profit from the date of last balance sheet till the date of death is to be calculated based on the last year's profit. So from the given 4 years profits, the last year's profit will be rupees 15,000. So this is the profit of the last year. So we have to provide a share of profit for the deceased partner for the intervening period. So that is Veena's share of profit will be rupees 15,000 into the intervening period 6 by 12 into her share, that is 5 by 10, which will be 3,750. So this profit which is provided to the deceased partner based on the previous year should be transferred to the profit and loss suspense account on the credit side of the Veena's capital account. Now moving on to the third adjustment, we have to provide interest on capital at 12% per annum. So Veena's capital is rupees 30,000, on which we have to calculate 12%, that is 12 by 100, and it should be calculated only for the intervening period into 6 by 12, which will be 1,800. This also will be appearing on the credit side of the Veena's capital account. So here these are the adjustments which have to be taken, and the last adjustment says that the share of revaluation account balance should be provided, and Veena's share is directly given as rupees 5,000, and since it is provided as credit, which refers to the profit. So this profit on the revaluation account will appear on the credit side of Veena's capital account. So now from the balance sheet, we have to see what are the entries that have to be taken. So from the balance sheet, we will be taking only the capital of Veena and the share from the reserve fund. So while preparing Veena's capital account, first from the balance sheet, we have to take the capital balance of the deceased partner and her share in the reserve fund, which has to be considered, and it has to be recorded on the credit side of Veera's capital account. And after that, all other items have to be taken one after another as per the calculations we had seen. So now let us prepare Veera's capital account. So this is Veera's capital account. We have debit side and credit side. On the credit side, first we have to open Veera's capital account by bringing down her capital from the balance sheet as by balance brought down 30,000. Next, since Veera is the deceased partner, we have to provide her share of reserve fund. So from the balance sheet, from the reserve fund has to be recorded on the credit side of Veera's capital account as by reserve fund, that is rupees 6,000 into her share 5 by 10, 3,000 on the credit side of Veera's capital account. Now we have to take all the adjustments one after another. So first adjustment given here is the goodwill. So the goodwill of Veera is being borne by the continuing partners Vani and Rani. So by Vani's capital account, rupees 9,000, which we had calculated, and by Rani's capital account, rupees 6,000. Next, second adjustment is the profit. A share of profit up to the date of death should be provided, so which has to be transferred to profit and loss suspense account, which will be rupees 3,750. That is 7,500 into, that is 15,000 into 6 by 12 into 5 by 10, 3,750. Next adjustment is the interest on capital. So provide the interest on capital on the credit side of Veera's capital account by interest on capital, which will be 30,000 into 12 by 100 into 6 by 12, rupees 1,800 on the credit side. The last adjustment is the share in the revaluation account, which is directly given her share. So it is appearing on the credit side as they have given credit in the bracket. Write it on the credit side of Veera's capital account as by revaluation account, 5,000 directly on the credit side. So now all the adjustments are being taken. Now find the balance, which will be the final settlement that has to be made to the executor. So the total of Veera's capital will be 58,550. So this will be the final settlement which has to be made to Veera's executor. So write it on the debit side as to Veera's executor's account, the balance or the final settlement, that is 58,550. So this is how the deceased partner's capital account is prepared when the balance sheet is given. So from the balance sheet, we will be only taking reserve fund and capital. And if profit or loss is given, we have to give the share of profit or loss to the deceased partner. Hope it is clear, students. We will see another sum in the next video. Thank you.